$2 million, same budget, same Bay Area. In Palo Alto, that buys you a condo. A nice one, but a condo. Two bedrooms, shared walls, and HOA bill every month. Drive 1 hour east to Pleasanton, and the same 2 million buys a four-bedroom house, a backyard, a garage, a guest room. So when your parents visit for 3 months, they have their own space, not an air mattress in the living room. Same number, two completely different lives. Let me show you the math behind it because this one comparison explains how the whole Bay Area works. I'm Sana, a realtor here in the Bay. Most of my clients are tech families, and many of them moved here from another country. They all ask me the same question: where should we actually buy? People think this is mostly about taste. I think the math should come first. Because once the numbers make sense, the lifestyle decision gets much easier. Quick map of where we are going. The real numbers in both cities. The hidden cost nobody puts in the listing. The one factor that matters more than the price if you're on a visa. And near the end, I'll show you the stress test I run before I let any client pick a budget. So let's talk about Palo Alto first. Palo Alto has Stanford next door, walkable downtown. You can bike to companies that run the world. So what does that actually cost? The median single-family house in Palo Alto is around $3.5 million right now. Not a fancy house, the middle of the market. Why so high? You're not paying because the house is magical. You're paying because thousands of highly paid people all want to live within a few miles of Stanford and the biggest tech employers. And Palo Alto is almost fully built out. No open spaces left. Huge demand, almost no new supply. That's the whole formula. So at 2 million, you're shopping condos and townhomes, and be careful with the averages. In popular pockets like Midtown, condos average around 2.5 million. 2 million is not comfortable condo budget in Palo Alto. It is an entry ticket. It is foot in the door price. Two more things about buying there. The list price is a marketing number. The average home sells about 7% over it. So a condo listed at 1.85 million is often priced to become a $2 million sale. And many winning offers waive contingencies to compete. That's just the norm. That's the game being played. Walk in with open eyes. Okay, so now let me put 2 million into monthly terms with 20% down at today's rate, roughly $10,500 for the loan, $2,000 in property taxes, and up to $1,000 in HOA. Call it $13,500 a month for shared walls and shared decisions, because the HOA decides what happens to that building, not you. Now, one honest detail that always comes up. In Palo Alto, renting is dramatically cheaper than owning. One recent study found owning the median home cost more than 5 times the median rent. Every engineer I work with asks the same question. Then why would anyone ever buy? And purely on monthly cash flow, they are right. It doesn't pencil. But Palo Alto buyers aren't optimizing for cash flow. They are buying two things a rent check can never give them. First is the schools. A $2 million condo gets your kids into the same Palo Alto public schools as the $5 million house down the street. Think of it as tuition locked in as equity. For some families, that alone is the whole decision. Second, the land. I won't predict returns, nobody honestly can, but prime peninsula real estate has historically held its value very well for exactly the reason we covered. Nothing new is being built there. Okay, let's take the same 2 million over the hills. Pleasanton, the East Bay Tri-Valley. As of June 2026, the median detached single-family house in Pleasanton sold for about $1.83 million. So your $2 million puts you slightly above the median. A real four-bedroom house, and that fourth bedroom isn't just another room. It's a nursery, home office, or a room where your parents stay for the winter. Later, it's where your teenager hides. which, if you have teenagers, might be the real selling point. Space is not a luxury. It is the raw material your family's next 10 years get built from. There is also something new this year: choice. In December, Pleasanton had only 17 houses for sale. By June, 72. And the offer game is calmer. Homes sell at roughly 100% of asking, and about a third of listings have taken a price cut. The list price is close to the real price, and you can actually negotiate. After watching people fight over for Palo Alto condos, this feels like a different country, not something 40 miles down east. Now, the economic argument for Pleasanton, the one nobody makes out loud because it isn't glamorous. Look at price per square feet. Palo Alto runs roughly $1,900 a square foot, Pleasanton roughly $800. You are buying more than twice the house for every dollar you spend. That's not a lifestyle preference. That's a math answer. And that gap doesn't disappear. It shows up as money you didn't spend. No HOA, no special assessments, the year the building needs a new roof. Some families don't pick Pleasanton because it's all they can afford. They pick it for what they don't spend. Call it savings, investments, peace of mind. Monthly numbers, almost the same loan payment as Palo Alto condo, and the property taxes run the same rate in both cities. One California rule worth knowing, Proposition 13. Your property tax is based mostly on what you paid, not on today's market value, and it can barely grow each year, which means buying right and staying put is quietly one of the biggest financial moves in California. But ownership costs differ in kind. The condo writes one HOA check a month. The house eventually writes the checks to the roofer, the plumber, the gardener. Budget roughly 0.5% to 1% of home's value per year for upkeep. Different money, different headaches, neither is free. Now, the part that matters most to many of my families: what the space lets you do. A detached house on a Pleasanton lot can usually add an ADU, a small separate unit in the backyard. California law has made this much easier. That's a private space for parents who stay 6 months, a future rental unit, an office. A condo can never do this. You're not just buying a square footage today, you're buying the right to add more later. Schools are excellent here too, and the Tri-Valley has large established Indian community. Grocery stores, temples close by, cultural programs, weekend classes for kids. You're not starting from zero, socially speaking. And something my own clients keep telling me after they move here, almost word for word: our kids can actually play outside now. Bigger backyards, quieter streets, parks everywhere. That never shows up in a spreadsheet. But in my experience, it is the thing that families mention first: space for the kids. So with all that, why doesn't everyone just buy in Pleasanton? Because a house price is really two prices: the money and your time. Palo Alto puts you next to your job, 10 to 15 minutes to most of the peninsula. Pleasanton puts a commute between you and your place of work. South to Apple and South Bay, it is 680 over Sunol grade. West to Google, Meta, and Peninsula, it's 84 through Niles Canyon. And across Dumbarton at rush hour, that bridge approach is where the drive falls apart. Either way, a bad afternoon runs close to an hour each way. One important exception is the BART. Pleasanton has a BART station, and if your office is in San Francisco or Oakland, the train changes the whole equation. You read or work while someone else drives. But be honest with the map. BART doesn't take you to Mountain View or Sunnyvale. If your job is on the peninsula, you are driving, unless your employer has a bus that takes you from one of the BART stations to their office. And here's the part that nobody says aloud, but it matters to a lot of you if you're on a visa or early in your career. Your job can change. Switch companies on H-1B and your commute changes overnight, but your house doesn't move. Palo Alto is bet on flexibility. Hundreds of employers within a short drive. Pleasanton is bet on stability. It works beautifully if your work is hybrid, remote, East Bay, or a BART ride to the next city. it gets painful if your next offer is in Mountain View. So don't choose for your current job. Choose for your next 3 jobs when you make a decision on the house. Now, the stress test, I promise. Layoffs happen in tech. And if you are on H1B, a layoff starts a 60-day clock to find a new employer. Imagine carrying $13,000 monthly payment during those 60 days. So the test run with every dual income couple is this. Can you survive 6 months on one income? Not comfortably, I'm talking about survival here. If yes, your budget is real. If no, then it's too big. No matter what the bank approved you for. Because banks approve the biggest payment you can qualify for. They don't approve the payment that lets you sleep well. This test sometimes moves people from 2 million Palo Alto condo to 1.6 Pleasanton or a Fremont house with some cash cushion. Same family, much better sleep, a little worse commute. And by the way, most Bay Area cities fall somewhere between those two extremes. Fremont, Milpitas, Dublin, San Ramon, they're all solving the same equation differently. Same trade-off, different settings. The framework I use with clients is simple. Score each city from 1 to 5 on 5 things. Commute, schools, home size, community, career flexibility. Screenshot this frame right now. Then save it. Then send it to your spouse. Score it separately, then compare. Usually, one city wins by a mile once it's on paper. And the disagreements you find are the real conversations you needed to have anyway. Then ask the year 5 questions. Will this home still work if you have another child? If your parents stay 6 months instead of 3? If one of you changes job? One more rule of thumb. If your career is still moving fast, buy closer to opportunity. If your career is stable and your family is growing, buy more house. You can always renovate a house. You cannot renovate a commute. So tell me how yours came out. Pleasanton or Palo Alto? Which one of these on your scorecard? And what was the deciding factor? Put it in the comments. I read and reply each of them. Here is what I want you to remember. The price tag alone tells you almost nothing. $2 million buys completely different lifestyle depending upon where you stop driving. I don't think the area has expensive homes. I think it has expensive trade-offs. Every city gives you something and takes away something from you. So don't buy for the job you have today. Buy for your next 3 jobs and the next 5 years of your family. In my own client experience, I have seen family choose Palo Alto and never regret it. I have seen family choose Pleasanton and never regret it. The only buyers I have seen regret their purchase are the ones who bought someone else's dream instead of their own. If you're comparing 2 cities right now, this is exactly what I'd do. I run the scorecard, the stress test for your budget, your commute, your family. Book a free consult. The link is in the description. 2 quick things if you want to go deeper. When schools are what's really driving the decision, and for a lot of you, they are, I have a full series breaking down Bay Area school districts county by county. That playlist is on the screen now. And if 2 million isn't your number, watch my San Jose series. It covers all the different neighborhoods from Almaden, Blossom Valley, Silver Creek, Evergreen, right here. And if you want a different pair compared, your city against other, say so in the comments. I pick the next ones from the comments. Choose on purpose. Choose on purpose. See you in the next one.